What's up, guys? Mystic Shop Podcast.
Yes.
Episode 13, in the spirit.
So we don't have Swerve, and I haven't had the time to write down 13. So, I mean, that's definitely not a free. But that's as close as you're gonna get right now.
As close as you're gonna get.
The fact that I can't write it, the fact that I haven't had time to write the words.
As close as they're gonna get.
Nah, that just means 4, mate. At least what I try to do made it look like 13.
True. Alright,
yeah, good times.
Episode 13 of the Mystic Shop Podcast, guys. Welcome. So, I think Swerve was what's the name? He was streaming a little late last night. Sorry he couldn't join us for this morning, but hopefully he joins us in the middle.
It is early in the morning for you guys, sadly. I do realise that with just like the timing of everything. It's the time of where we live and all that bollocks. It's
messy sometimes, and I know he has to take care of things on his end, but I'm sure he will want to be here, especially to talk about these new fuckery cards.
Exactly. Good times. The new KDA cards. Yes.
I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, how have you been, Gomez? Been okay?
Oh, I've been all good. You know me, just been getting by, striving along, doing all the bollocks. Yeah. So standard me.
Yeah, I hear that. Well, I've been all right so far. I've been playing Runeterra here and there. I've been trying to rank up more than anything, so I could get into that seasonal tournament to represent.
Yep.
But
I mean, you can still do it. You can still do that through the what are they called?
Yeah,
gauntlets.
True.
The gauntlets. I mean, you got a potential chance there. So if worst comes to the worst, you can go for gauntlet. Go for gauntlet glory.
Yeah.
Potentially. So.
Yeah. That's true. You don't have to
grind
your heart away.
Don't cut yourself out yet. Where are you on the ladder, by the way?
I am in gold right now.
Okay. Yeah.
I have to.
Still good. So as you climbing?
Up. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I got into platinum. Like, so I started in silver, got myself into plat, and have not been able to get myself out of platinum.
Damn. That was. I think that was me like last season. Like I got myself to plat. And then I don't know, like maybe it was because of the decks I was playing. I was like trolling, but like.
Well, the thing is, that's the thing of it. I need, like, in order to play the game, I need a deck I enjoy.
Exactly.
And so therefore, the problem is that it is a lot of kind of like aggro-y, samey deck. Like it's like in order to climb, there's certain like things that you need to be doing, and just like I like to go off the books, like I like to go like off. I like to like you take you see the path. You see like a path. The road diverges, and there's like the standard path that it's a nice path. It's Roman made path, nicely made path that's been established and then you got the dirt road with like you got the dirt road with like just like these terrible looking trees. There's like a crow on
a sign that says "Don't enter."
There's a vulture. There's a vulture or something on like a dead tree, and there's like it says danger or nuclear or radiation or something. I'm taking that part. And that might be why I'm not. That might be why I'm not ranking up on the ladder. So.
Oh man. Sign that says "Don't enter." Gomez is like, "You mean enter?"
He's like, I see the word enter. Smash my way through. That's just the way I am now, and I think so. I'm never gonna be like top ranks or anything like that. But I'm having fun, and that's the main thing.
Yeah.
That's what I care about.
Yeah. Nah, you gotta have fun with Runeterra. It's hard. It's like for me personally, it's hard to play these like super competitive aggro decks. It's like it's like last week when we were talking about playing discard aggro with University. It's fun. Yeah. It's actually fun. Like you will literally run into some craziness when you play University.
It's funny because it gives you that thing when it runs out of steam, but the actual standard unit, the standard deck doesn't run it because it considers it as taking out efficient cards that could potentially get you the win faster. Because literally, like the standard deck is just smash into your opponent as quickly as possible, kill them. If they've got too many heals or they can't beat, then that game's over. Just concede and start the next. Like that's what the official meta deck is. But I like to run the university because you never know. Because it just gives you it gives you that little extra. Well, let's see what science has.
It really does. And I mean, there's some combos with it as well. Like you could play Jinx, and then you could play University, instantly flip Jinx. Like there's some.
Oh yeah, it's an amazing card. It's one of those shame. It's one of those things where it's a bit of a shame that there's not like a thing where you can choose a card that you want to stay in your hand, and it removes everything else other than what. Because basically, what I'm trying to say is, it's such a good card that could potentially have been comboed with Suit of Perfection, but the problem with it is that you haven't played 20 cards. If you haven't played 20 cards already and you draw Suit of Perfection, then that's just burning. Like you're losing that card. You know what I mean? You're losing your win condition because if you haven't got it by the time that that's my point. I would like to run that card with Suit of Perfection, but it's really hard to do that because you're just going to be burning Suit of Perfection. But it's because of the random cards it's giving you that I would like to run it. But yeah, that's my piece.
I mean, if you could play that card with Suit of Perfection, it'd be nutty.
It'd be amazing. I'd love everything. I would love I love like Suit of Perfection is one of the cards in the game I absolutely love. It is the card that is just, when you see your opponent play it, it's like, shit. Like, literally, you've got especially when you're playing Expedition, because I don't know whether or not you've seen it in Expedition, but Expedition actually runs it's called Accelerated Perfection.
Oh,
because you've got a lower, so literally it's only 15 cards in various. So you see that in Expedition, it's like, shit. Like, there's no way much you can do to catch. I love that card, but admittedly, Purify, Hush, like anything that can take away its overwhelm.
Yeah,
does stop that card basically in terms of like, because sometimes you've put so much into that you've got no other ball. Like I'm not saying all the times, but sometimes you've got no other ball. It's just literally, this is your last Yu-Gi-Oh moment. This is my time to take over, and then literally it just gets silence. It's like, shit.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Yo, it having overwhelm is everything. Like it just being a 30-30 that can be blocked is like, okay.
Yep.
But
it's
I remember. Wait, when did they change that the accelerated like when was that change? Because I noticed it the other day. Well, not the other day. But
no, it's only an Expedition.
Yeah.
It's only
an Expedition.
Well, the reason for that, I mean, I don't know when that change happened, or like whether or not that change was already in it because only recently I've started getting back into Expedition, and like to be fair, so when I started the game, it was all basically ranked and ladder, and then I did a little bit of Expedition, and then massive gap, and now I've kind of got back into Expedition again. 'Cause to be fair, I actually think it's a really fun game mode. It's a game mode where it's not like ladder. You don't know what the hell you're going to be up against, because most of the time now you're on ladder, you're always against roughly about the same kind of decks.
Yeah.
And it kind of gets I do still like ladder. It's just that sometimes you just queue into it. It's just like, oh, he's running Trundle War Mothers. They're running. What you get? Like you know exactly you're up against. Whereas in Expedition, you never know. And plus the fact that you can get
you never know.
The fact that I was running a mushroom deck in Expedition with like 5 copies of Mushroom Peddler, and 5 copies of the little kind of whatever the hell it is, the 2-cost one which creates a spell, and 4 copies of the guy who creates 2 mushrooms. I mean, just like the devastation of that mushroom deck. You will never see that on the ladder. You will never, because obviously you can only run back. You never, but in Expedition, it's the Wild West. It's the Wild West, and I love it. I'm out there in the Wild West. I've got my cowboy hat on. I'm shooting guns left, right, center, and I'm loving it. So
here's a mushroom.
Yeah.
You're gonna get a mushroom.
Here's a mushroom.
Every turn. Oh
exactly.
My goodness.
Exactly. So I love that's what I mean. But anyway, let's get into our pick of cards. Let's get into some form of standard format this week. Okay, sorry, I'll go first. So my favourite card of this week so far is just because it's like the last one that I unlocked. Is the Go Get It card, the new KDA cards. I know we're gonna go through all the KDA cards and Vimshi, but Go Get It has been my favourite card of this week. Just because, even though I've only been using it for the last part of the week, it's fun trying to find those kind of moves that you can use with it, because it does create a card still on the board. So you can either use this as defensively when you're defending, so that you can then bring that back, but then it still leaves an ephemeral copy, which is still going to do the trade while still keeping what you want back. So it's kind of like a better recall in that respect, is that it still keeps a body on the board.
Yeah.
But because it still leaves a copy, because it creates a copy, and it creates a copy in hand for 0. As I said, the devastation that I've been doing with Riptide Rex and getting multiple copies of Riptide Rex, and as I said, you basically getting 3 cannon barrages in 2 turns with Riptide Rex using the Go Get It. It's such a devastating thing that no one expects. So
that's nuts.
It's a lovely card. It's a lovely card. But it's more just like kind of trying to come up with all the different ways that you can combo and use that card, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, it's a super combo-y card. Honestly, when I first saw the card, I was like, I didn't know it was gonna be. I mean, I don't know. I didn't. I think I just looked at it and I was just like, I wanted to analyze it. I wanted to get like a feel of it. That was the thing about it.
Yeah.
Because all the KDA cards, they do completely different things. It's not like they all have like synergistic things. Like they don't all have synergistic things. They all do completely.
We're all in different regions, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So.
So when I first saw that card, I was like, is it good? Is it not good? But I'm like, I mean, it's fast speed. Recall something to your hand and then make it 0. Like it has to have a place somewhere, you know.
It's one of those kind of cards where it's just like, it's better if you're using it with cards which are. I say this better used it with cards that are not in Ionia, but there is definitely Ionian cards that you can use it with. Like, I mean, if you have a Yasuo deck, not obviously. I mean, you could recall Yasuo to save him if he was in a spot of bother, but also the ability to maybe use it on the what's his face, the I will eventually come up with his bloody name. The 7 cost guy who stuns 2.
Oh, you're not talking about.
You know his brother. You know his brother.
oh, Yon. Talking about Yon, right?
That's the one. So potentially using it on him so that you could then have a 6 cost on the board, but that's ephemeral. Like so, and then also recall him back to stun another 2 if Yasuo's on the board, and he goes ha cha 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 cha, and kicks even more ass. Or you could use it with the 9 cost one, the Fleetfoot or whatever her name, or Swiftfoot, and recall yet again. I mean, there's definitely ways that it can be used. You just need to remember that it's an ephemeral copy that's created on the board. I mean, you could even use it with Rekindler.
Yeah.
Rekindler to get even more champions back. So if you were using it in Shadow Isles, there's so many different combinations where that card can be used. It's just finding them out and thinking, oh yeah, like looking at things a slightly different way. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about Rekindler. You could literally make. You can literally just get 3 champions.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like literally, so play Rekindler. So your champion dies. Play Rekindler. Turn 7, and then next turn, if you've saved up the money so that you've got 10 spell mana, use Rekindler twice. Yeah, no, you can fill up the board. It's just making sure that you've got kind of a clean board before doing that, because otherwise, because obviously. Yeah, it's taking up space on the board for each one of those rekindlers. But it's definitely an interesting thing. It depends on what champion you want to do that with, because obviously you'd only have Shadow Isles and Ionia if you're using that kind of combo. So it just depends on what kind of champion you'd want. I mean, potentially, because it is an ephemeral copy, maybe some Hecarim. Because, I mean, Hecarim does work off of ephemerals as well as the fact, because it's Ionia, you could throw it in with Zed. So that you've got the early game as well as late game potential. I don't know. I mean, it's potential. Plus, that would create a lot of Hecarims, let them all die, and then Harrowing, boom. Like, you know.
Yep.
So,
Game's
devastation.
over.
See, look, this is the thing now. I think that Swim even said that he tweeted out about, this is the thing now. The card that was such a meme card has now become potentially relevant in the unearned passage. Because the fact that so many people are using War Mothers, so many people are using the, Feel the Rush.
Yeah. And
potentially Harrowing could be, I mean, like, just having that card of, oh yes, unearned passage, good day! So, it's interesting. I like the idea that, because, let's face it, it had not been seeing much love at all on a passage, so it's going to be interesting to see whether. But anyway, getting into the card that I hated this week because we've massively gone off topic. Let's try and keep some box around ourselves. So the card that I hated this week. Now, admittedly, it's not really. It's a really strong card. It is Trundle. I have been using Trundle, but I've also been facing Trundle a lot on the ladder. His health and the fact that he regenerates is so devastating. That's why he works so well in War Mothers. That's why he works so well in so many decks. It's just that he can support. He can trade off the early game because obviously with his regen, like it's really hard to pin him down. Mm-hmm. So yeah, but he's a good card. I think that he might need a bit of a look at, and he might need a tweak. Mm-hmm. In terms of because Lee got hit. I mean, we'll go on to the chat, the patch notes that we had, but yeah. Lee got hit, but it's kind of made Trundle even more powerful because at the time Trundle and Lee obviously were the main men on the thing, and now that Lee's been slightly nerfed, Trundle's just there and laughing in his troll-like way. Anyway,
he's just chilling there. He's like, hey,
so
I haven't been nerfed.
He's a very strong champion. He's a really good champion. I just think that he's just a little bit too strong at this moment in time. I would even take that he has to be. He's a bit like if they changed him to be a bit like Vlad, in that he has to level up to get that regeneration. If you know what I mean, because Vlad doesn't have regen until he actually levels up.
That would be.
And
nice.
So because Trundle's because his health stat is still a good health stat, and that he's dropping on turn 5. And then obviously turn 8 is when you get his level up, and the fact that's mostly played in ramp anyway. Like, I'm just saying that it makes him that little bit more fair when he first drops. Is that he has to survive that damage, he has to get through that damage without that regen, and then when he levels up, he gets it. But as I said, that's just my personal take on it. Anyway, people.
No, that's my take on it too. I think Trundle shouldn't be able to trade for free with stuff. Because he's already coming on the board way earlier than he's supposed to because of the ramp. And on top of that, it's like Trundle, he's a game ender. He once you play him on 8, he can end the game. It's like 2 or 3 swings, he ends the game. Because he's gonna gain +3. He's like a 3. He's like what, a 3-6 or like a 3-7? I mean, what am I talking about? He's like a 7-8 or 7-6.
I can honestly not remember his stat line when he first levels up.
Let me
right, he's a 5-7.
Yeah,
5-7 upon level up.
He's gonna be a 5-7, and then if you have maybe 2 cards in there, that's a freaking a 7-7-7.
Well, his IC, I said his IC obviously already counts as 1. He's like Ice Pillar. And obviously because he's getting played with War Mothers, because he's getting played with Trendemir, just he is devastating. If you've got nothing that can stop that man, he just smashes through. So yeah. I just think changing it so that he just he's like Vladimir, he does, because I mean it's like Brom. You got to look at all the people who have got regeneration. It's like Brom. He's got regeneration. They had to take away that one. When he had that 1 point of damage, he was best because obviously he's got challenge as well. But he was devastated. So just taking away that regen until because he's a 4-6 when he drops. He's 4-6 with regen.
It's not like he's some small. He's like some small unit. He's a bulky unit. So it's like he could take a hit. And then
he can take a number of hits. He can take
exactly.
So I just think that maybe changing it so that he doesn't have the regen. But that's just my personal take. But there's going to be probably loads of people who disagree with me.
No, I actually like that hot take. That's a good hot. That's one of those good Gomez hot takes. I like that hot take.
There's a lot of stupid ones, but sometimes. Yeah, no, that's just what I feel. Because it's just like because the fact that he ramped. So if they're going super ramp, so throwing down the what is it, the lion's head thing or the tiger's head thing or whatever the hell the thing's called, faces of the old ones.
Yeah.
And then next turn throwing out their their stones.
Yeah.
Boom! He's just
he
comes
on turn 3.
Yeah, it's devastating.
Yeah.
It's devastating, and I just think maybe there needs to be a little bit of a tweak.
Yeah. No, I agree.
But that's just personal. That's just personal. No. But that's what so he's been my card that I've come across. It's just because on ladder at this moment in time, I don't know what it's like in the US. I can only speak for the European one, but literally he has been on the ladder so much. Literally every single one that you're queuing into, it's a Trundle deck. It's like, okay, okay. So
I mean, I feel like it hasn't been like that here. Well, you're gonna see my hated card and you're gonna know why. But it hasn't been like that here. But when you do queue into one, it is really annoying. Because Trundle is just free trades. Anything with regen is free trades in this game. Like, and basically you can't trade up to him. There's no card can trade up. Like, what card on turn 5 is trading up to him? It's no card.
Yeah.
So he's just free trades. That's the problem with Trundle. So taking away his regen, it's a hot take. Don't get me wrong. I don't even think I doubt they're gonna take away regen because I mean.
Oh no, I doubt it because I mean there's the whole thing with trolls. Trolls like in any kind of thing they always have kind of some regeneration or something like that. That's the whole premise of them in D&D and in anything like the trolls always have got that kind of feature.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. But I could see that change because that would bring him in line because that it would make sense. It would make sense. It would make sense for the game overall, not for his lore, but for the game, because he shouldn't be able to free trade with things on turn 3 or 4. Like that's nutty. It's nutty. He shouldn't be able to. But all right. Let's get to my cards. One of my favorite card is actually Feel the Rush.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah. It's a pretty good card.
Devastating card. Yeah, no, devastating card. It's just because it's, as I said, when I first did it, like the first deck I built was a mushroom deck with Sedge and Teemo. But literally everyone, I think, went down that same route. So I kind of had to change it up. But yeah, it's a good card.
Nah, it's definitely a good card. I mean, I tried it. I put it in a few decks, but I was trying like cards like champions I don't see play. Like I was trying like a Katarina. Even though she loses the buff when she goes back.
That's my one problem with her. Like you can't really use it on her because, as you say, she does. So she's gonna get that attack. She's gonna get that quick attack, which most likely they're gonna throw something. So you get in a trade, but then she recalls herself and loses those stats, and so that's why, in my opinion, Katarina is not the best choice for that. That card.
It's like,
but there's the potential for rally.
Play, though.
There's the potential for rally, but you're not gonna get it that turn because obviously you've had to spend 12 that turn just to play for the card.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Next turn it gives you the potential to rally on, like say that you're using that on your own attack turn, and it goes into your opponent's turn, and you can throw her down to immediately rally. But it depends on what your other champion is that you've got with that that's supporting that that thing. So I mean, potentially, maybe if you really, really want to go down that route, potentially some kind of combo with Darius, because obviously then Darius has got his own kind of stun rally spell as well, and the fact that he's got overwhelm, so that 10 damage is going to be doing something.
Coming in hot.
So potentially a combo between those two is what you could see.
Yeah, that's true. Because then Darius would have all the damage. And then use Katarina to rally.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
That's about the only thing that I can think of as a potential. If you're trying to, if you really want to throw Katarina into that mix,
I don't know how they need to change. I mean, that's a conversation for another time. But I don't know how they need to change Katarina because she's in current state she's like unplayable. But
it's one of those things, right? She's not a champion that you're running free of, in my opinion. Katarina is a champion you run a one of for late game because literally you know for a fact that she's recalling. So there's no point in playing her early game because all you're gonna do is allow your opponent to develop.
While you're
because if you're spending that much money on her, like 4 cost, like when she levels up, you're not developing. Your opponent develops. All they've got to do is just throw their smallest minion in the way of her because they know that it's not gonna kill. Or they've got a spell that can kill her.
Mm-hmm.
So. But late game, if you're playing so the best potential chance that I can see of Katarina off the top of my head is maybe Yasuo, Yasuo with Swain as your main heroes with Katarina in there because Katarina's going to be counting towards the Yasuo with the Widget Fuji, but late game is going to be those rallies so that if you potentially get off the Leviathan, Swain, Yasuo kind of thing going on, so you're trading up with the board, and then they're trying to play things to defend themselves. There's not much defense you can really do against that, but then a potential another push forward with her. That's the only way that I can really see maybe you getting a Katarina in that deck, but other than that, it's not the easiest thing to put in.
Yeah, it's not.
Sadly, as a champion, she's not, just because you're paying that much cost for one trade every single turn. Like, you get a rally out of it, you're basically paying 4 cost for a trade.
Yeah. It's like, what's her name is 3. What you call that card? The rally card for Demacia. What?
Yeah, what you mean? Yes, which you call it? Reckless Pursuit.
Yeah, it's 3.
Yeah.
So Katarina being one more for a body is like okay. But
it's okay. It's okay. But you need to remember that Demacia is more all about building a board first. So you can build up a board, buff that board with say a bannerman or something like that, and then you're just continuously hitting for there's a difference between the style of play of Demacia and Noxus.
True.
Potentially throwing those two together and putting Katarina in there, you might be able to find something, but it's just, do you throw 3 Katarinas in that deck for the chance of if you draw her to she's great late game. So late game let's say turn 8, where you could throw her down twice if you've got a buffed up board of big burly Demacian men, and then throwing her down twice is devastating. But other than that,
yeah,
you know what I mean. I don't really see her.
Yeah, it's hard to put her in
a style of play.
All right, but my least favorite card is actually Wish, because here.
Oh yes.
Soraka.
Yes.
Freaking what's his name? From Tom Kench. Oh my goodness. That deck. Honestly,
it's not too bad.
Honestly, I always when I first saw the deck, I said it was a good deck, and it was I feel like they're playing a different game. You understand? We're playing, we're here, we're we're trying to punch the Nexus. Yeah, punch. They're like, oh, I'm just trying to heal, and I'm trying to win. They're just playing a different game.
That is why you need to be running at least one tech card of landmark removal.
True.
Just you need to be near enough in every single deck, just one, just in case you come up with that one. So your best one is Noxus, just because Noxus's card is multi-purpose in that it can be used either to destroy the landmark, or if they don't have landmarks, destroy somebody who's taken damage. Mm-hmm. Targon's one obviously it's the same price, but if you're not running landmark, it does feel a bit because literally it's either draw a landmark or destroy a landmark. Admittedly, the destroy a landmark is a bit that you want, so potentially throw one of those in the deck and then just build a deck just don't worry about the landmark. If you're unless you you want to be playing the landmark, obviously, then you can do. Shadow Isles 1 does still have potential because
you just crumble, right?
Crumble, crumble. It's just making sure that you've got something on the board that you don't mind dying. So potentially in an undying deck, or even just something where it's a little minion where you don't really care about it living or dying, like a spider or Warden's Prey or something like that, like something that you don't really care about dying, but you can literally just to trade off to get rid of that. The worst feeling one is the Bilgewater one, but that's just because of it costs a lot. It costs a lot, and but it is still multi-purpose because it can shuffle a unit back into a deck or a landmark. It's just a really annoying cost for doing so. Potentially, who knows, in December when we get more cards, there could potentially be more removal across the regions which don't have removal right now. But for now, you've got to kind of, just in case you come across that deck, I feel like you've got to at least run one tech card of landmark removal. Personally.
No, that's true. But that's true. Any deck you make, you should probably put at least one or two some kind of landmark removal, because just watching them freaking trade everything with your cards, and then they play that wish, and you're just like,
mate. Have you, you need, mate. What you need to do is you need to check out my Feel the Ramp video on YouTube, because it will make you feel so much better in terms of the fact that there's the one match where I'm playing against Ken Shiraka with landmark. He gets his landmark all the way to 22. He's being big man, just passing the turn. Like, look, there's nothing. He's got a board as well. He's got a big man board. He's like, hey, nothing you can do about this. Number one, cosmic, whatever the hell, which obliterates all units which haven't got more than 3 attack. Gets rid of his Soraka, gets rid of his Kench, wipes his entire board, and that deck runs. That I put in that deck the tech card of one diverted path. Boom, took out his landmark, because obviously at the end of the turn he would have won because it was on 22. Boom. I mean, I just ended that whole man's career. He's got no ball in one turn. He thought he was gonna win. He even emotes. This is the best bit about that. He emotes because he thinks this game's in the bag. And I sweep the rug. I sweep the rug from underneath him in that video. Wow. So if you want to check that out and feel good about yourself,
I'll check.
That's how to do.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I'll definitely. I'll check that out. I'll check that.
But I know for a fact, obviously, Wish is an annoying card when you're against a deck which is all about obviously healing, or it's just if they're because I mean. It doesn't even have to be a healing deck. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a landmark deck. The fact that they can do that, if they've used Astral Protection several times, so that they've got some big beefy units, Wish just brings all those units back up to maximum health. Landmark on the board or not, all those units now back up to beef burly men, so they can still do good trade-offs. It is devastating. So I do understand what you mean by Wish being an annoyance, but it's still like I have got no problem with the card in terms of I don't think that it's unbalanced. I just think that it's an annoyance when you come up against it.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's an annoyance. I mean, I think it's an annoyance, but I don't think it's broken. It's not a broken card, but it's just it just feels so goddamn bad when they're at like 10, when they're at like 10 or they're at like 15, and then they heal their whole board.
Yeah,
you're like,
feeling.
Damn.
I've sat through and watched it many times, and so I know the feeling. It's an annoying card, especially if they have the landmark and you've got no landmark removal at the time. That's all good.
You're just a silly duck.
I take it now. We're moving on. Are we going on to patch notes, or are we going on to just the KDA cards in general, or the KDA event?
No. Let's leave the KDA event for last. We can talk about the patch notes because it's pretty small.
Okay.
So patch 1.13. They talk about the new event, which is already live now. What's up?
Can we just talk about how everyone immediately, like, we're talking about all the big people, all the big men creators, everyone ripped into them saying, "Oh, you call this a patch?" No, because literally, obviously, there was only two texts in it. Can we just take a moment to actually appreciate the fact that this was not actually supposed to be their standard patch?
I know.
Like, in terms of this is the little. This was because normally it's a little patch and then
the big
2 weeks
patch.
and then the big patch. Type thing. So this was a little. This was something they tweaked on to the finishing it, and just immediately the outcry from the community. Oh, you call this a patch?
Like, you know how much work they had to put in to probably even get these 2 changes into this patch?
Let's face it, their main purpose of this patch was for this event.
Yeah.
Was to get everything set up so this event was going to be going on and whatnot. And so they threw in these patches because it's what the community wanted, because everyone was crying out, "Oh, you got to change Lee Sin, you got to change Lee Sin, he's got to say so." They'll take that in. They threw in a little bit of Make It Rain, and immediately just, "Oh, there's only 2 changes. What is this?" It's like, come on! I mean, that's what I mean. The community needs to learn a few little things about how the development process actually works in games, and how it is actually not like the whole purpose of the patch was the KDA event and preparing anything for it so it was going to be going, and then just doing the normal little kind of bug tweaks that they do, which does still take time. All these like little tiny things. Yeah, and so they threw those 2 changes in quickly. They had to work on it, obviously, those 2 changes onto Lisa, because as well as that, you need to remember it takes a lot of time and discussion to try and work out how you want to change a card. Yeah. Because you need to be like, okay, now what do we do? Do we just change it? I mean, obviously they've gone with changing the cost with both of them, but you need to think like, do we change the cost? Do we just change the health? Do we change? Like, there's a lot of things, because obviously, like a big thing that people wanted was to see Lee lose his barrier, but that's actually quite a really big change. I mean, because we've seen
that's a
before.
rework.
That is a rework, and we've seen that before. That it takes a bit of time with that. Like Hush took 2 changes because the way that the coding worked, they couldn't throw in the change to Hush to get rid of its fleeting, but they added on it cost additional every single time that you cast it in one turn, and now it's gone down to where it is now. What I'm just saying, like, it takes time with code and change. So removing his barrier is actually a big thing. It's almost like a complete rework. Yeah. Bearing in mind, this was not actually a patch that was to do with proper balance changing, but it was just the like. I feel for the development team on just how bad everyone just ripped into it immediately and was like, "Oh, so 2 changes. You call this a patch?" Yeah. I don't know. It really caught me off guard. But literally, yeah, just like they're doing the best they can, guys. Just let them do their jobs, okay? Like
he could have just left Lee Sin for another patch. I honestly.
Oh yeah, they could have waited. They could have. Yeah, they could have waited to their proper balance patch that would be in 2 weeks.
Exactly.
So
honestly, I expected them to, because in my opinion, I don't know where they. That's another thing I want. I do want to talk to the balance people about where they find like the actual like feels to change certain cards, because in my opinion, Lee Sin did not need to be changed. He wasn't. Don't get me wrong. It's a competitive card. And it's strong, but it's not broken. There are cards that counter him. Frostbite. If you frostbite Lee Sin, what can he do? It's not. What is he doing?
I will say that he was actually he did need a tweak. I wouldn't say he needs a rework, but I did say I do actually support the change that they did do. I wouldn't say that I mean, obviously, with the new cards and with new things happening, obviously, he's kind of going into the backfield for the time being. But he did actually need looking at, because that early game of yet again playing him on turn 4, with the fact that gems and that really quickly got his level up. I mean, he was desperate. It's the fact that obviously he throws Zenith Blade on top of all that.
Yeah.
He was a really sticky, hard means to deal with when you could throw Bastion and things on top of him. Obviously, the Bastion nerf made it so that it wasn't as quick because obviously he used to be able to do it on turn. Like, he used to be able to throw him down, have 3 spell mana, and then be able to block and attack immediately if you tried to spell him off the pool. So I feel like just the little extra cost of mana was actually warranted.
Yeah.
I don't see much more of a problem with him. I think that he will start to like outfade, but I do appreciate this balance that has been done to him, personally.
I mean, I'm saying it in a sense where it's like, I don't know. I don't think he needed to be changed. I think it's like it's fine. It's fine. Like it's not gonna really like he's gonna still see play because he's a good card. Like. People are still gonna try to figure out how to put him in decks and try to figure out how to, play him.
The main buff to him was changing his champion spell. That was like out of all the when they buffed him originally, the main buff to him is his champion spell because the fact that obviously because it used to just be the 7 cost spell. Because it's now the spell which comprises of 2 spells, so it's got challenge and it's got add an additional 2 attack. Both of them obviously really quickly leading up to his level up because obviously he's got to play 8 spells. That's already 2 of those spells. As well as that with challenge, allowing like somebody like Zed or even himself to challenge him, he gets challenged automatically, doesn't he, when you play a spell? But allowing him and Zed to challenge somebody, Zed with his quick attack, and then it added an additional 2 damage, which also then barried up the Lee, so that he wasn't going to be taking damage from his trade. Zed wasn't going to be taking damage from his trade. It was a devastating combo. So a little bit of extra cost to make that happen. I'm not going to cry about that. I'm quite happy.
No. I think he eventually needed to be changed, but I think it's better. I mean, this is how I look at balance. I think it's better when you change multiple cards at a time, not just let's just change Lee Sin, because now Lee Sin is changed, yes, but now just like you said, Trundle is now broken. Trundle's reaching that. He's reaching that echelon.
He's reaching that level.
Exactly. Now he's reaching that level where Lee Sin's not taking him down a peg. Now Trundle's just sitting here like, ha ha ha, I'm at the top. That's the problem with changing only 1 card in the meta. That's the problem. That's my only thing.
I can see it from their point of view in that obviously this was not supposed to be an actual proper balance patch. The community was crying out for a change. Literally, the community was crying like the whole community was going, Lee Sin's broken. You gotta do something about this. And so they did something about it. It's just like, and then this is outright. This is all you've done. Like that's what it is. It's that kind of outcry that it really like you get what you want, but then it's never good. It's never good enough. They're trying to do the best they can. It's never good enough. And the thing of it is that people honestly do not realize how lucky they are. I said, coming from a background of Hearthstone, the amount of time it used to take for balance patches, I don't know what they're like now. They might have actually had to because now they're in competition with this kind of game, because obviously a load of people are actually coming over from Hearthstone to Legends of Runeterra. Because they might have changed it, but literally a balance patch in WoW, you'd be lucky if you get one in 3 months' time. Like, there's a problem. Yeah, no, we're looking a bit later. Like months will lapse. Okay, now we're doing a little change. So you have no idea how lucky you are with how quick balance patches and changes happen in Runeterra. This is it's devastating compared to in some other card games. So. Yeah.
And then next we got the I didn't even say the change, but Lee Sin got changed from 4 to 5, and then his health got changed from 4 to 5. So they basically made him cost a little bit more, gave him a little bit of health, and that's it. And then the second change was, in my opinion, the second change was way more like wow than the Lee Sin change. Make it rain going to 3. Like everybody literally just they didn't even look at the second change. They were like, yo, Lee Sin got changed, guys. Yo, Lee Sin got changed. I'm like, yo, but make it rain. Make it rain got changed from 2 to 3. That's big.
Make it rain did actually need that change because the devastation of the fact that because that was where it was either Lee Sin Zed or you were facing off against pirates.
Yep.
And pirates, the fact that they had literally they were just throwing down the one who throws the keg out, so that their make it rains, every single one of those was doing 2 damage. And for early game, considering the fact that you need to remember that's an aggressive deck. Considering that early game, like there's not a lot of things that can. Like, I mean, there are obviously things that you can put out which have more than 2 health, but there's not a lot of things, and so just that ability just to like wipe your board and then still just hammer in that damage was devastating. Considering the fact how quick they could do that, so obviously now just making it that additional mana cost just means that it puts it in a slightly more fairer range of things, you know what I mean, rather than 2 costs, because it's even though it's random, so you don't know where that damage is going to go, and like sometimes it doesn't go where you want it to, it still is a very powerful move, considering the fact that it was being comboed like with Swain as well, because of the fact that 1 keg and that's half his level up. Like if you've got a board which has, you know, at least 2 minions on it, so it's hitting the 2 minions. I mean, one keg make it rain is half Swain's level up, and so, you know, it did need a little bit more on top of that. It was
a lot of versatility. Also, I feel like make it rain when like, say for instance they have like 2 minions and then they just have face, like, you know, make it rain is gonna hit those 2 minions. Like,
without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah.
So it's like, don't get me wrong. I think that they put the 2, like, originally I think that they came out with Make It Rain because they were like at 2, because they were like how it's a random. Like, if they have a whole board of things, then it's not gonna hit exactly what you think. But in aggro, you only have like maybe 2-3 minions on the board, so it's gonna hit. It's most likely gonna hit the things you want it to hit. So.
Yeah,
you know, that's the story behind it. So it being at 3 is like, in my opinion, that's a bigger change than the Lee Sin change, in my opinion, because it's been at 2 mana since it first came out, and
you need to remember as well, this is a slight nerf on top of Misfortune as well, because obviously Make It Rain is Misfortune's spell.
Exactly. Yeah,
because a lot of people were playing. A lot of people were playing that deck with Misfortune as well for that additional damage, and so they were getting multiple copies of Make It Rain, not just the standard 3 copies. They did have multiple copies. It's the same as Diane, Diane with Power Cascade. People run her for more Power Cascades. So people will run that for more Make It Rain. So the fact that it's now made it so that it's just that little bit more cost, it puts it more into the realms of not ridiculous. So
yeah, being 3 mana. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, I don't know. That's just my opinion. I feel like that's a bigger change than the Lee Sin change. That's just my opinion, because Make It Rain is it's a crazy card.
I know, yeah,
especially being at 2 mana, but now it being 3 mana, also it makes it seem as if that whenever a card does damage, it equals, like, say for instance if a card does 2 damage, then it's probably gonna be 2 mana. Or if a card does 3 damage, it's probably gonna be 3 mana. That's the precedent that they're kind of setting when they make that change to Make It Rain. And I think that's nice. That's nice, because a card shouldn't be doing 3 damage but be 2 mana. So that's just how I see it. But they just talk about some expedition changes, some bug fixes, which is,
it was mainly bug fixes. Yeah. The main thing was the fact they were putting in this event.
Yeah.
Which actually does have cards. I mean, I think that at the time as well, people didn't actually realise that there was going to be cards specific to the event, and that there was going to be things like that. So
yeah,
there is that as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was the patch. The patch was supposed to be. The patch wasn't even supposed to have changes.
No, it's supposed to be little tweaks and that, and obviously the main thing was supposed to be the event.
Yeah. So, but that was the patch. That was the patch. The patch. It was a small patch.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
But it was a small patch, but it was a very packed patch because of the 2 changes that were in it, which were actually really big changes. They weren't small changes. So, and they actually got them out in this patch, which I know had to be big.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But we could talk about the KDA cards.
Yep. So obviously, KDA event. Quite interesting. Yet again, they've gone down the same route that they did with the Spirit Blossom, whereby you have to complete the things in order to get complete the track in order to get all the different things. And they put the cards on that track. They have been a little bit nicer this time because I feel like there's a lot more quests immediately with the Spirit Blossom thing. There was a few quests initially, and then it was a little bit of time, and then they added more quests. From what I like, you know what I mean, it was like in terms of the quests, because obviously the quests do give you a big boost in the resource to go up. They want it to go up the what is it, track? Yeah. I guess you'd call it.
Yeah, it's like a little, it's like the little track. But yeah, I think they've been a little bit more nicer when it comes to them giving the quests for the event. Because I've been leveling the event pretty fast, to be honest. And I don't even play that much. I play Runeterra every day, but I don't play like 20 hours a day. Like I don't play that much. So. And
you can actually claim those cards. After when the event finishes, you can actually make those cards. Like obviously you can't make them. Like you know, as you would make a standard card. You can't make them now, but you will be able to when the event ends. I appear to have lost my co-host.
I'm back.
Okay. Somewhere he's there in the abyss of time. He's there. Yeah, no. So they've done it so that you can claim those cards off. Like you can build those cards or whatever you want to say after this event happens.
Yeah. I think they made it so that after the event you can make the cards. But I mean, I feel like even if you play like a few days a week, you should be able to finish everything. Honestly.
Yeah.
Honestly, because like I said, I don't even play that much, and I've been leveling it pretty fast. I've been leveling it pretty fast. So if you do the quest events, you'll probably finish before the 23 days is up. You'll most likely finish before 20 days up. So, but individually, I feel like you talked about the KDA, yeah, the one that you like the most. But there's also what's this one?
So you talked a little bit about Field of Rush, I believe.
I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. I was looking at the.
Looking at the cards or looking at the.
Yeah. So there's Go Hard. We didn't really talk about that one. It's drain 1, and then have a unit shuffle 3 copies of it into your deck.
2 copies.
Is it? Oh yeah, you're right. It's 2 copies.
I like the idea of this card because, as we've already seen, there's been people who have been theorizing either use it with Karma, so that when you get the big spell, you use it twice, so that you get 10 damage on all units, as well as the Nexus, or using it with Dreadway, so that you get 10 damage off of that spell.
Yeah, pack your bags.
And also just its ability to work with PNC, because PNC's got so much draw, and the the chief, whatever the hell her name is, the one who makes more copies of when you draw, makes more copy, like fleeting copies in hand. There's definitely different routes this card can go down, and that is I do like the idea of it. I can't wait to experiment with it myself.
Yeah. So I think it's a peculiar card, honestly. Go Hard. It's everybody keeps saying it's trash. But I think it's gonna have its place. It's gonna have its place. It's a weird card, and I like it. It's
a card which the deck kind of almost has to be built around it, because it's going to be diluting your card pool by continuing. So like if there's something else which is in there which you really want, then you're putting more of another card you're putting more of that card into your deck. So you kind of have to be working with that. The way you're working with that is you need to have draw. You need to have a lot of draw so you're drawing into those things. That's why I said to you before, Ionia works really well, because you could be either using Deep Meditation, which draws spells, or you could be using the River Shaper, or whatever his name is, the guy who whenever he strikes, he draws cards, draws spells. So there's combos that can be done, because that's what you need to be doing. You need to be trying to draw into it to be able to use it, to then be shuffling more. I mean, if you've just got the 3 copies, you've got not a lot of draw, then yeah, no, it's going to be trash because you're diluting your pool, and it's So if used correctly, it's a really powerful card. If you don't exactly know what you're doing with it, then yeah, I can see why some people are saying it's trash if they don't know what they're doing with it.
True. And then there's also Out the Way. I think this is the card that people aren't really talking about. Out the Way.
Well, Out the Way, so
you want to read it?
So it's basically, for the rest of the game, allied buffs, which are permanent, and it also draws 1. So admittedly, you only need to play this once, and then the other copies kind of become a bit meh, because they only become draw 1. But which it's a drawing 1 for 5 cost, but you need to be running 3 copies to be trying to get this out as early as possible. Because obviously it is a really powerful ability if used right. So obviously Targon has got a lot of buffs that you can like power cascade. All your power cascades, all those buffs are permanently staying on. In the lab, it pairs it with Demacia, because Demacia's got things like Ranger's Resolve, which gives everyone on your side of the field tough for the round, but then obviously that tough stays on everyone. It's then got Demacia's got a lot of buffs which are for this round. Get this thing. Potentially as well, you could pair it with Freljord. Freljord's got things like Fury of the North and things like that, which is buffs for this round. That type of thing. So it's things like that, and knowing they're going to stay permanent. So it's going to take a little bit more work to figure out what ones you kind of want to add on, because potentially you could even throw some Noxus in there, because Noxus have got Might, which gives people Overwhelm as well as additional free damage. Admittedly, Targon's already got things which can grant Overwhelm, but that's just another spell which can add it on as well. So I mean, there's definitely different regions. It could potentially be seen in Demacia, Freljord, or maybe Noxus, depending on what kind of things you can make out of that. But I can see that there's definitely stuff that can be done there. Yeah,
there's definitely potential with this card. I think the best region it will probably be in is Demacia, though, because Demacia has a crap ton of crap ton of buffs that are not permanent. But if you get them permanent, like you said, freaking Ranger's Resolve.
Yeah, the whole every single minion, boom, instantly tough. You've got that spell, which is the 6 cost spell. Give 2 units. I think it's like I can't remember what the hell it's called right now, like back to back or something like that. Which is grant free to 2 minions this round. There's some really powerful things if used properly.
Yep.
So
yeah, for sure. Also Citria.
Yep, exactly. That's what I mean. There's a lot of things which are devastating.
Genevieve, there's a whole bunch of stuff. There's a whole bunch of stuff for Demacia for sure.
Exactly.
So,
and I don't know exactly whether or not it works with. I'm guessing it's going to work with what's her face, Shyvana's move of whenever she attacks forward, she gets stats, doesn't she, for the round? So whether or not that will continue, so she keeps those stats, so she can continuously stat up. Shyvana can get insane with the combination of this card potentially, but I don't know whether or not I'm assuming that works, but I don't know whether it works or not officially. Having not tried it yet. When I get that card, then I will be trying.
That is something to try there.
Because obviously when she levels up, then she's getting even more stuff. I mean, it's got the potential to go a little bit insane. Yeah. Especially if you're pairing that with Targon, so anything that tries to remove her potential bastion, you could have she could go a little bit insane. Yeah, but anyway, for sure. And the last card is Give It All.
Yeah.
Do you wanna explain the card?
1 second. Bring it up.
Yeah, because I think it's the last card then. So this one I don't talk very well. I think.
Raise all allies' power and health to the highest power or health among allies. Grant all allies allied keywords. Yeah. I think we talked about this one in the beginning of the podcast, because we were talking about it with discard aggro.
Yeah, obviously, this can work. I can't remember whether or not we actually said this at the beginning of the podcast or this was the talk before we started the podcast. But it's those kind of things kind of like blur together. But discard aggro, the chance of being able to use this with the Poro to grant everyone elusive, like Darren Poro.
Yeah.
Draven for the quick attack, as well as potentially the Overwhelm if he's leveled up, or just the crowd favourite for the Overwhelm, as well as the fact that obviously it would be the crowd favourite stats, most likely an attack that you would get from that kind of combo.
I don't know if you watched. I think Swim came out with a video where he literally did exactly what you just said.
I mean, it makes sense, the combo.
Yeah, he played Daring Poro. He already had like a 7/6, I think. What's the name? Crowd favorite. Yeah, and then he had a Draven on board, and he had like 2 other minions that didn't have like any stats, and then he played Give It All, and the opponent just gave up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and as well, the other thing is obviously because it's in P&Z, the chance of using it with Heimer, because obviously Heimer, if you've been playing him right with all different spells, potentially all your different bots have got different key phrases. Like there is obviously tough, fearsome, overwhelm, alert. Like if you got enough bots with different stats. Or different keywords, using that, and if you had a T-Rex on the board so that they all went up to 8/8s, that in itself is also a devastating combo with that.
Yeah, that's nutty.
that's where I can see the main combos potentially being, but you never know. There's always different things that can surprise you out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for sure. I mean, I could see that as a little combo to end the game, because like you do like a progress day. And then you do give it all the following turn, and you just end the game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like that's
potentially.
Wow, that's wild. Because I heard, I think Weimer's still a deck with Hush and what's his name? What you call like a Bastion.
Yeah.
So that's still a really good deck. Or I think it's like a tier 2 deck still. Because of all the nerfs to Heimer, but
of course.
I mean, Vi's still a good card. Let's be honest. It can trade with anything on the board, but yeah. I mean that's everything. That's everything we're gonna talk about.
Indeed. Shall we do the sign offs and the windy downs and the who the foos?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So, for all the YouTube people, I'm gonna leave everybody's link below. Leave everybody's link in the description below, and then I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, Gomez is working on a few things as we said before the podcast. Well, that wasn't on the podcast. My bad. I just thought about it. I'm like, that wasn't even on the podcast. But he's been working on a few things. He's
got a few things in the works.
Yeah, for sure. And then also he did his lantern giveaway, which I'm sure went amazingly. So
Yep, yeah, no, I mean, we're gonna have Janky hopefully on the podcast next week. So when Janky is on, then he's one of the actual winners who won. So hopefully it would have arrived by then in one piece. Hopefully, if the poster surface hasn't ruined everything. So we'll see about that, won't we? But
it'd be like, here's the lantern in 2 pieces.
It's all just crumbled up. There's a box has been kicked around a little bit. But we'll see.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. We're gonna have Janky on next week with us.
Yeah.
So yeah, stay tuned for that. And we'll be here next week, same time, same place, guys. All right.
See you all. Until next time.
Later, guys.